So welcome back to Rufus Duck Adventures. The next tent in my Vango series of backpacking tents is the f10 series Helium 1. This is not the current model. The current model is a darker green, a bit like the Radon and the Nexus. This is the slightly older model. So this isn't the new version. Is a compact, so they have shorter pole sections. This one has the slightly longer pole sections, but other than that, it's basically the same tent. So this comes 400mm long and about 125 round on the end. Yeah, a little bit squished in the middle, but as you can see, when hold on a second, it squishes up quite nicely into a tube. So yeah, so 16 inches by 5 inches. And we've got the weighing scales here, so we'll weigh this one. And as it comes is 1230. And as you can see, I've actually got dedicated footprint for this. So if I plonk that on top of there as well, we get 1407. So 1.4 kilograms with its footprint. So excellent. Right, we'll put this tent up and we'll take a look at it. So opening up the bag, I've just discovered I've got 4 extra vango pegs in there for some strange reason, which come in at nearly 50 grams overall. So these are the original pegs, which are the 10 like aluminium U-shaped pegs at about 6 inches long. I don't know why I had these in there. It must have been for something else. So not particularly professional, but take 50 grams off that that total. It only needs these ones. They must have been for some other reason. Anyway, and then the nice aluminium Yunnan poles, really nice quality poles, and as you can see, that lovely olive green of the tent. So here we go with the tent fully set up. Helium 1, as you can see, it's a single pole design with a couple of little short pole ends here in the fashion of the Cairngorm and the Nevis and the Apex Compact series of Vango tents. Follows a similar sort of design. Obviously this one has, instead of it being a single loop, well, it's a single pole, but it has a little crank here and here. What that does, it gives you a little bit more headroom here, but it also lowers this section a little bit. And then, as you can tell, being the f10 series, it has the flat poles sleeves, so the wind doesn't catch them in quite the same way. But you'll notice it has 2 guy lines here and here, and then a little one on the ends, and it needs these guy lines because it shakes a little bit. So these will be pulled out in line, stabilizing that, and obviously it has the internal TBS system, which also helps stabilize that. So it will make it a lot stronger in the wind than it's sitting currently at the moment. As is always with these this design of tent, it's really important that you keep this line here dead straight with this little pole here. What I've done, come around this way, what I've done, obviously it's got a little line lock on there. I've tied a little loop in this, so your peg ends up on the line in the same place every single time, and then that just, by tensioning this, you see as I slacken that off, it creates all that slack up there, and when I pull it tight, it tightens it up nicely, and that's the key to keeping these tents tight across this section. Keep that straight and then tension that. This tent comes down really quite low on the back side here, so if there was a prevailing wind, I would have this rear side here into the wind, or one of the ends, or this back. There is no second door, it's only a one-man tent, as you can see. Coming round, nice strong Dyneema lines with a little reflective strip in them, and little reflective strips up here. This can be tightened down here, but as you can see, I've got it, well, it's quite a nice sunny day, so there's not a lot of sag in the material. It's nice and taut at the moment, and as you can tell, there's quite a big gap, biggish gap here, maybe 3 inches underneath on the door side, allowing for a little bit of ventilation through underneath the door. There aren't any high level vents, as you can see on this, with the exception of it being top zips, so you can in good weather maybe leave this section open and let it vent out through there a little bit. And as you can see, 2 velcros here. And at the bottom, to stop zip creep, there is a little clip there. Clips. Right then, I'll just unzip this, tie it back, and we'll have a look inside. You'll see this older model has a traditional tie on here as opposed to the newer ones which connect up onto the inner sheet. I think it's probably to do with this was always a bit of a weak point. It dripped and leaked a little bit, not that mine ever has, and so they did away with it and put it up there instead, and it's just a pain. It's such a bad idea that you need to go back to this. But anyway, as you can see, I've got the footprint in on mine. Doesn't necessarily need it. I've got a 70 denier ground sheet and then a 70 denier footprint. So, but I quite like having this little area for when you're kneeling down, getting in the tent. It gives you a little area to put your knees on and stuff. This being a one-man tent, it's not massive inside. But certainly big enough, and at that sort of weight, a really good option for solo backpacking. Right, so across here, the vestibule, 200, maybe 300 mil. So not the biggest vestibule in the world, maybe 100 mil wide at the end there. Going into the tent, as you can see, we have a small vent that leads through here and into the outside, and then same again at the foot end. I've cut the label off, I always cut them off. Little vent and through into there. So not the biggest amount of ventilation in the world. I would try and leave that door open if I could, as much as possible. With the door, it doesn't go back into a dump pocket on the heliums. It just goes onto a little tie on here, as you can see. And then it's all solid material, bar obviously the little vent at the bottom. It's all solid material here, with the exception of a small mesh section just above the door where the TBS goes through. And you do have a couple of little Dorito pockets, as I call them, up in the top for your head torch and bits and bats, and you watch in the middle of the night. Very handy, just above your head, ideal. And then obviously these are the TBS clips that come up out of here. This one, the helium, doesn't come with a little pocket like some of the other tents, just in an effort to try and save weight, but that just unrolls and clips up to there in inclement weather, solidifying that pole that I was talking about. Just spinning around, as you can see here, the tent isn't perfectly rectangular. It goes, this will be rectangular along this line. It goes back a couple of 100 mil into here. Just a handy place just to put your bits and bats. It is possible. I have slept in here with my dog. I've got a Springer Spaniel and he curled up here, so it is possible to sleep in here with your dog, but it's certainly not big enough for two people. Yeah, it'd be a real squeeze. Right then, I'll just get the tape measure and we'll get some stats on it. So having just put the tape measure on it, it is 900 mil wide across here, 600 mil wide at the both head and the foot end, and it's 2.1 meters long. I'll tell you what I'll also do, I'll just measure that there as well while we're here. I would say about 300 mil high at the foot end, and in there and at the head, and where the head space is, which is up here, it's 870 mil from the floor, and a little bit less at these points here, probably more like 850, 840 mil here. So it doesn't give you a lot of headroom. I'm 5'10", and I'm sitting up currently, and my back is straight, and I can just sit up with me, no mat on the floor, obviously. So as soon as I move my head any direction, it's hitting the ceiling. So the only place I can put my head is right in the apex of the tent. Right in the apex of the tent here. I can move my head left and right with a little bit of a slouch, but yeah, it's not, as soon as you go in that direction or this direction, you're straight into it. So it's not the biggest tent to move around in, but it does keep the wind out because it's all this lovely fine material. So if it's breezy in here, breezy out, it's quite good in that regard. As you can see, the vestibule space isn't huge. You can't open this door. You've only got one door because this one's obviously got the pole in it. So not a huge amount of space, but I've always managed to get my big rucksack down there, my boots wedged in here, giving myself access this way, and a little bit of cooking space. You know, end of the day, this is a very lightweight one-man tent coming in at 1.2 kilograms, less than 1.2 kilograms. And if you're after a small, lightweight, fast backpacking tent, this is it's a good option. I would yeah, I'd recommend it in that respect. I've had it a good few years, and I really like it. I really do. One of the big benefits of it is how quick and easy it is to put up. It only runs 10 pegs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the 2 guy lines 10. So 10 pegs, and it goes up in minutes and goes down just as quick as well. One of the Achilles heels with these sill poly tents without a lot of high ventilation is condensation. I mean, if you're sleeping on a damp night and it's cold outside, you're going to get condensation. You've got to get condensation in any tent, but these particular ones don't seem to do suffer from it a bit, quite a lot, because there's not a lot of airflow here. But if you've got a nice breeze and it's blowing in there and it's getting up underneath this edge here, it'll dry out just as quick as anything else. Having said that, one of the beautiful things about this material is when it does get wet, and invariably all tents do, it dries super fast. As soon as you get it in a bit of sunshine and let the air get through it, it goes so quick. This material, because it's so thin, doesn't pick up that much water. It picks it up, it absorbs it a little bit, but then it sheds it again really, really fast, much quicker than other types of materials. So yeah, it can get damp, but yes, you can dry it really quick. So, you know, it's all trade-offs. And also, you're not carrying too much water when you haven't got a lot of thick material to absorb that all that water. So yeah, I like it. I would recommend this tent for somebody who's younger, who's flexible, who wants to travel light and fast. If you're a bit bigger, around the middle or in length, and your back doesn't work quite as well, I probably wouldn't go with it, because there's not a lot of headroom in there, a lot of bending over, swapping around space. When it's wet, if it's raining outside and you're trying to do your roll your bag up and, you know, get your sleeping bag out and all that sort of stuff, it's limited in there, and you know, you end up with your feet out here trying to do most of it in the doorway, and if you're lashing it down, that's a little bit tricky. But if you're flexible, absolutely, why not? I would definitely recommend it in that respect. So the only difference I can see between this and the current model, because there's 2 more since this, one with the red ground sheet and red lines, and then the darker green version, which is the current model, 2025, is the length of the poles. These ones are slightly longer. The other 2 have a shorter pole section, which I think adds a touch of weight, to be honest, because more sections, more jointing pieces between poles, more weight, but it's negligible. Other than that, it's the same tent, and I like this one. It's a lovely colour, lovely lightweight tent, and it seems to have held up really well. I will be doing a versus a comparison video along with that one, my Radon 1, which I've also got up in the garden at the moment, just drying it out after the weekend, but that's for another video. So you can see the colour difference. The new helium is that colour with the red on the bottom, this being the older one. But yeah, well, I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll come back to you again soon with another tent. I think, what am I going to do next? I think I've got a nature hike planned for you next. Anyway, look forward to that. Right, take care, bye-bye. So here we are, all wrapped up again. I made a good job of wrapping that up there. So this is the tent without those 4 extra pegs that shouldn't have been in there. 1, 3, 5. Let's just call it a 1, 3, 5, 5. So not even 1.4 kilograms, with a footprint in there as well. So with the footprint on, the footprint weighs 178 8 grams, I think I measured in at. So yeah, that's sub 1.2 kilogram tent. It's impressive. Yeah, if you want a lightweight one-man tent, this is about as light as it gets from Vango, until you go to the hydrogen and the neon, which are crazy small, super lightweight, can't move around, can't swing a cat type tents. This is a proper tent, doesn't need a trekking pole, sub 1.2 kilograms. It's a fantastic machine if that's what you need. Right then, take care, bye bye.